So, our wonderful government opened back up this week, and if you're wondering what that means, I'll spell it out to you pretty simply. Not a damn thing. Nothing. Nothing happened. They shut it down and then turned it right back on like nothing happened. There was no big win, there was no clear deal, but there was a whole lot of noise. This was one of those Washington shutdowns where everyone started talking rough and tough. They got into a knife fight with each other. They threatened collapse. And then they settled for something that makes absolutely no sense once the smoke cleared. So we're going to walk through what actually happened and how what the Democrats claimed they were fighting for was just a scam the entire time. Now, both sides certainly played a role into the shutdown, but it was essentially the Democrats that gave the tipping point for it to close. And I can't necessarily say I blame them at the time. I mean, our system is completely broken, but one thing that does work still pretty healthily is our system of checks and balances. And the Democrats had some leverage, and they at least made it seem like they were going to use it. That's what they said at the time. They blocked the funding bill because it didn't extend the expanded premium tax credits under Obamacare. These are the same ones that they really juiced up during the pandemic to stop everyone from getting financially annihilated by insurance companies. This is a very great thing that's worth fighting for. These are real subsidies. They lower people's monthly premiums if you buy insurance through the marketplace. And this is for people who are working but can't afford their regular health care, which is a common thing in this country because we pay more for health care than any other country on the planet. So this was the Democrats' hill that they were going to die on. They said, we're going to hold the line. We're not going to let the government open unless we get a commitment to extend these subsidies. It's pretty noble. Sounds like it. But what did they walk away with Monday when we reopened? A verbal shrug, just a maybe. A promise that the Senate might vote on it in December, and the House didn't agree to a single damn thing. They didn't agree to shit. So the only thing that we got out of the shutdown was a half-hearted suggestion that maybe Congress will consider not screwing people over with their health care at a later date. So that is not leverage. That is not a win. That's political catfishing. And that's what happens when you think that you're in some kind of hostage negotiation, but it turns out no one on either side actually cares about the hostage in the first place. So why reopen the government at all if you didn't get your deal? Well, because reality probably caught up with them. Federal workers were going unpaid, food stamps were delayed, airports were jammed, and working people were complaining. But guess what? It's the donors that really probably push for the shutdown to end. Lobbyists, corporate suits, think tanks, the people who actually get callbacks from the senators. You think a shutdown that goes through the holidays is going to play well on CNN? You think the Democrats wanted to go into 2026 with higher premiums and a shutdown still dragging their poll numbers? It's convenient that they waited until after the election to reopen. And when it's all said and done, they completely bailed. Call it for what it is. They folded because the pressure got real. There was no grassroots pressure from the people. People were pissed, but that wasn't what led them to opening back up. It wasn't some poor bastard not getting his VA check. It was these finance guys. It's defense contractors, the donor class. They pretty much said, wrap this up now. It's starting to affect us, this government shutdown. It's not good for business. And just like that, Congress passes a stopgap bill to fund the government until January 30th. Big whoop. We're going to have to go through this whole thing again in a couple of months. And those subsidies that they claim they were fighting for is still dangling in the balance. It's not guaranteed. It's still up for debate. So the thing that the Democrats shut the country down for, they didn't even get. And that's why this whole shutdown was a performance on both sides. Democrats pretending to fight, Republicans pretending to resist. And in the end, everyone goes home. Nobody's held accountable for their actions. And we just act like it's just a normal thing, another day in 2025 in America. Meanwhile, we have another deadline, like I said, in January. And you think that's going to be any different? You think they're going to finally grow spines and start to figure it out? We'll probably be back in the same mess here again in a couple of months. And that's because these people are addicted to crisis. They're addicted to headlines and storylines. They need chaos the way that you and I need our regular coffee in the morning. It's the only way that they justify their jobs. And every time this thing shuts down and starts back up again, we get a little bit more used to the idea that basic governance is optional. That's the real story behind this. It's not about who won the shutdown because nobody won. You know who did lose? You and me. Like and subscribe if you like these truths that we're talking about on this channel. And if you think that our system is ever going to function the way it's supposed to, you better go take a nap because you're going to need the rest.